Hey, welcome back to Wheel Friends, the comedy podcast that exists in the world of bicycling. I'm your host, Craig Richards. In today's episode, we're going to be sitting down with my buddy Steve. It's actually a recording from a couple weeks ago. After we had finished making plans for our camping trip, he and I did another movie plot. I think you're going to like this one. We basically create the greatest bike western of all time. One of the reasons I'm digging this out of the vault is because I've been ridiculously busy the past couple days. Like, it's been a lot of bike rides and Halloween and things have been eating into my time. And also it's been raining, so rain isn't super conducive for recording. Otherwise, I definitely would have maybe tried to get some audio at the Devil's Night Poker Run, which was still a great time. That was last Monday. Despite the negative weather, we still had a pretty solid turnout, and you can check out those photos up on our Instagram page. Tonight was our normal Wednesday evening group ride, but the turnout was less than normal. We actually had more people at the poker run than we did at the group ride this week. There were only 8 of us, but I made a pretty bad mistake tonight. So normally you should kind of at least be aware of what the weather's going to do when riding in the fall. But tonight, I just kind of, I assumed it was going to be 40 degrees. I asked my Amazon Echo, I was like, what's the weather like? And it was like, 42 degrees. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got ready and just walked out the door. And as soon as I got out the door, I noticed it was sprinkling, but I was too stubborn to turn around and go back. So had I actually checked the weather, I would have seen that it was going to be rainy, and I wouldn't have worn a bunch of cotton clothing. So your bike lesson for this episode is maybe don't wear all cotton, and definitely check the weather before you leave, because it was kind of a pretty chilly 40 degrees outside in the rain, and in jeans and a hoodie. So yeah, there was my bike lesson, and now let's get to Steve and I.
What I was saying was bike western. Like, I don't know how you do it, because the thing is, like, me and you think of being on a bike as like being badass because it's cool. Like,
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with like traffic, like motorists and stuff.
It's like
it's
when,
dangerous
when the cowboy's riding through the buffalo herd and he just knows where to go. Like
Yeah.
that's your bike in traffic. You know what I think makes that work? So imagine the Mad Max type world where things have gotten way too hot, but there's also an oil crisis. We can't get any more oil, so cars just lay down the streets, abandoned, like in The Walking Dead. It's all desert, and suddenly the only means of transportation is the bicycle, and you get around town to town like the olden days, weaving through traffic, scavenging through parts.
See, okay, that's one way to take it. I was thinking keep it modern.
What's our setting here? Are we in Montana? Where is this place?
Let's put us in Detroit. There's, I guess, like bike gangs or something, but they're not gangs. It's just like just the Western mentality, but in like a modern setting. Kind of like when that Leonardo DiCaprio rendition of Romeo and Juliet, how it was like that classic
just
story.
over the top. Okay, so.
But this would be like a Western. It would feel like a Western, but it would be like a bike messenger movie.
Always
like
messengers, but it's so easy.
But like that's the thing. Like I feel like a bike messenger is easily translatable in like the cowboy type, because he's like he works for himself. Like there's all these different like teams that like companies and stuff that are like bike messengers and stuff. But then you've got one guy who just does freelance, and everybody hates him because he's the best. So he's always pulling their business and shit like that. But then I'm like also like. But he's also got a gun, and they've all got guns. And at one point, there's a shootout. That's the thing is I don't know with this, like I don't know how to get the whole like gunslinging aspect into it, because that's important in the Western theme. Is there's a shootout.
I'm gonna come back at you with my same pitch from before. We live in our like, so the gangs are caused by, they're basically roving bandits, because you're copying like. Oh, there's Wild Bart and his evil boys, like, so you've got that gang mentality, and so when communication between cities is brought to a halt because we no longer have the infrastructure anymore, we have to literally go Pony Express old school style, except there are no ponies. There are people.
There's no
on
animals.
Bicycles are bicycle messengers,
and there's no more animals. Like, and gasoline is gone.
Yeah.
We're assuming gasoline's been all used up by this point.
Dude, we're back to classic Western style. So you got your like makeshift windmill that you've put together to get yourself some light solar, because we are gonna have some minor technologies like radios and stuff, but for the most part, whatever, it's basic.
No, dude, but like everybody rides bikes just because there's no horses, there's no gasoline, so it's like everybody's on like a mountain bike, like type thing, like a weird new versions of things.
You're either on the homestead doing your basics. We're back to basics, basic farming, basic whatever,
farming potatoes
and then or you're out on the frontier hunting, scavenging, or passing messages town to town.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So now we have different occupations that are necessary.
Yeah.
So this is good for world building and story development. So we have, these various occupations.
So then
that
we've
could
got like
involve
our
the
hero
bicycle.
who's like some gunslinging. He's got like a rifle on his back.
Yeah.
And a revolver, and he's just going, or some form of gun, and he's just like going town to town doing odd jobs and stuff.
The legend of the gunslinger.
Yeah.
A necessary evil, walking that fine line between what we know is good and what we know is wrong.
Riding that fine line.
Riding that fine line.
Because he's on like a mountain bike.
And he just shreds.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He shreds.
He shreds.
Dirty Carl.
Dirty Carl, yeah.
Oh man, there we go. We finally get to apply that.
Dirty Carl, yes.
Yes.
So Dirty Carl, the greatest. He's okay. So no, your gunslinger is your this gunslingers are the inspiration for Batman. They're vigilantes. They're solo. That like this isn't quite a crazy lunatic person. This is more of a stoic.
Yeah.
This is this protagonist like.
I envisioned a dude just because like I wish I could be this person that we're talking about. So I see.
All right,
me.
man, fantasy, got it.
In this story, there would also be like these like badass shredding women too. Like
before things went dark, they had X Games World Tours to go to.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Like
Red Bull commercials
these are
to
like
shoot.
these are like these are children of like the great. It's like Riley Hawk's kids are doing this shit.
Yeah.
Like there's like the Hawk clan. There's clans
Out on the frontier. Oh man.
shredding on the frontier.
So now we've established that these people who now live meager lives as like farmers and they used to have great extreme sports lives, they're going to come into play later. There are Magnificent Seven. We know of their secret abilities of being badass on the bicycle. So we have our Lone Ranger type, our badass protagonist who rolls into town and goes to the local tavern and hears of these bandits that are hitting the caravans that are traveling town to town, the stagecoaches, the cargo bikes hauling freight from city to city between the buffalo cars that sit abandoned on our expressways that we needed to have, but now sit as a symbol of dying capitalism.
I like to think there'll still be trains. There's totally gonna be a scene where there's some dude riding a bike on the back of a train and like hopping it over shit and like just thrashing on the back of a train and like getting shot at. That's my other thing is like just somebody going downhill, just like firing a pistol, taking somebody out.
Yeah, this sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah, dude. That'd be pretty cool. Like
So in order to take down these roving bandit gangs of bicycle clans gone wrong, BMX kids, BMX kids. There's like a mountain bike clan, and there's probably some Wild West stereotypes in there that we're not really going to touch on.
Yeah,
that should be handled like in a sensitive manner.
Well, I'm thinking also if this is like a future post-apocalyptic thing, we'd have like some tribe of like radioactive people.
Yeah, and so not to totally rip off Dan Harmon, but I did love in the recent Rick and Morty's the style of that Mad Max style world they had.
Oh yeah,
it was because everything was 90s out, but like I would want that still. So like each of the gang is like the clothing they wear is like leftover shards of what we had, and so like
football like armor and stuff, and like
we're making shirts out of what was left behind from Joanne fabric, and it's just so wild. Like, and so
it's like dinosaur pattern.
So like Wild West versions of contemporary clothing, lots of bright neon colors I think would be sweet amongst the tribes.
A lot of windbreakers
and the gangs and the bandits And so eventually our hero needs to reunite all these retired athletes, all these extreme
like children of retired athletes.
Yeah. And it's like your bloodline, like
Travis Pastrada's like great grandkids are there,
and they okay. So there's definitely a scene that takes place in a mine shaft where we're on like a full suspension downhill mountain bike that is just eating these timbers holding the rails.
Yeah.
And we're hopping lane to lane, and it's that classic mine shaft thing. And so you've got like a mine cart full of bad guys and
on one side,
and you're using your photon pistol because it is the future.
Or some kind of like
maybe the answer
thing.
to gun control is phasers. Just think about it. It's a thinker.
Yeah, but that's the thing is like if we're going post-apocalyptic, like a phaser assumes that we have the ability to create enough electricity for like
so
a weapon,
solar, but limited solar use.
I'm thinking just like a nail gun, like an extreme nail gun, like Fallout, like
3D printers.
What about them?
Like, okay, so
we have no electricity. Everything's gonna be manual.
So, like an archetype of some westerns, such as Back to the Future Part 3, there is a local tinkerer who helps make some wild West gadgets.
You would have to have some kind of super genius.
Yeah, and that guy has a 3D printer, which he 3D prints guns, like weird experimental guns.
Gotcha, and he hooks us up because everybody else has like, I imagine like some kind of weird like nail gun.
Yeah,
that just rapid fire shoots nails out.
Makeshift bow and arrows.
Yeah, crossbows.
There we go.
Crossbows that somehow like refill themselves, like semi-automatic crossbows. But we're like maybe like 10-person army with like other groups helping out. But like,
you definitely unite with some of the tribes.
Everybody's got their thing. There's one dude that just has like a slingshot, like a sling. Like like a David and Goliath style sling.
And it's made of bike components,
like bike tubes and stuff. And bow and arrows. There's a dude with a spear
aiming for spokes because like
exactly.
Our bikes
are
horses.
Exactly. So
you can take a bike down or you can take a person down because how have we forgotten that aspect of combat? So like,
oh dude, bike polo is a dude with like a hammer.
Oh yeah,
like a bike polo club.
Bike polo mallets.
There'd be a whole group, like a whole group that does that.
I think one of the Wild West things was a lot of the people who went out west were people who went from the Civil War. So I think there was some sword play out there in the.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got like a melee weapon, and then you've got like your.
Oh fuck yeah! There are forts out on the frontier.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh, so the gangs built their own forts. Oh, this is the best. This is the best movie pitch in a while.
It's like all scrap metal. It's like built around like an old hospital or something.
Wood,
like
scrap
just
metal.
Just like the top of a building because it's all covered with sand because everything's been blown out and stuff. So it's like if a sand dune started eating a building. So you've just got like the top portion of it sticking out, and then something built around that.
Oh man, imagine the soundtrack to this because it's gonna be a weird synth thing. Well, you ever played Red Dead Redemption? Like it was just like.
Yeah, dude, that'd be wild.
like a little bit faster Blade Runner. Steve and I forgot to do the most important thing, which is come up with a good title. He and I were messaging back and forth trying to come up with some good names for it, and this is about what we got. Neon Cowboys, Steel Horses, Chain Rustlers, Saddle Sore, Downhill Desperados, A Fistful of Spoke Nipples, To Live and Shred in the West, 420 to Yuma, The Good, the Bad, and the Gnarly. Ooh, that's actually pretty dope. Good, the Bad, and the Gnarly. If it was a comic book, which I think actually might be a better medium for this, Good, the Bad, and the Gnarly would be sick. That'll do it for the Wheel Friends. Thank you for joining us this week. Thanks to Steve for pitching that great that bike idea. Hope you enjoyed that as well. Hollywood, get at us. Netflix could use some more original content from nice boys from Michigan. As always, be sure to check us out on social media. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter. For any other inquiries, you can shoot an email to wheelfriendspodcast@gmail.com. I've been your host, Craig. Go ride your bike.